Hi guys, Artie here, and for God knows why, Adult Swim decided to adapt Rick and Morty into an anime series. Who asked for this? Rick and Morty, and most adult animated comedies in general, is the type of show that just does not work in a run-of-the-mill, action-adventure, strictly story-driven anime format. Rick and Morty, the anime, was originally a series of shorts shown on Adult Swim, and I thought it worked much better in that format, due to it sort of being a parody. I was never big on anime and could never get into it. It's too serious and story-driven for my taste. The only ones I've actually enjoyed are Agretsuko, Doraemon, and Shin-chan. And maybe Dragon Ball, just because everyone else likes it. I've always been more into adult animation and comedies such as Regular Show and Futurama. I decided to give the first episode a watch myself, so I could form a proper opinion, and not just sheepishly follow other people's beliefs. And I can say, it was a bore. I gave it the benefit of the doubt that cartoon Twitter was just overreacting like always, but this episode just could not hold my attention. I was bored, confused, and annoyed pretty much the whole time. First off, the characters act nothing like they do in the original series. Summer is basically Rick's giddy sidekick now. Rick himself seems incompetent, lame, and lacks motive. And Morty is just a boring, hollow character with no personality or interest and is merely a plot device, of what little there is of a plot. That's the next problem. I haven't seen the later seasons of Rick and Morty because I lost interest, so I had no idea what was going on for the majority of the episode. If they had some type of recap at the beginning of the episode, the plot and why everyone is there would have made more sense. I had no idea what was going on for most of the time. From what my brain could process, a decoy Rick is arrested by an alien race because he has a device that can reverse the flow of time in his possession and they want it. Meanwhile, the real Rick is somewhere in space doing whatever. Meanwhile, Morty is strangely not on the adventure with Rick and instead playing on a VR gaming headset Rick gave him, and in the game he's playing, the universe and timeline keeps changing for some reason. At the end of the episode, both the main and subplot somehow come together, and I believe Rick and Summer come home and end Morty's gaming session. The story meanders and nothing really happens. There's no twist and all the events in the episode seem to be random. They didn't think to proofread the script before they greenlit this episode. It's almost as if they accidentally used the rough draft instead of the finalized script. Not a single quote-unquote joke in this episode made me smirk, let alone laugh, not once. The humor is virtually non-existent and is some of the driest media I've ever seen in my life. I'm not kidding. The only attempt at comedy here is more swearing than usual, which doesn't work. Even Royal Crackers managed to make me crack a smile a few times, and that's saying something. All the original charm, humor, cultural references, and characterization from the original series have seemed to completely evaporate in this new series. If I had something nice to say about this, it's that I really like how the background designs and props are drawn. It's visually appealing. The problem is that the character designs are too exaggerated and off-putting, and also the color scheme clashes with the backgrounds. The background designs in the show actually look decent, but the characters? Forget about it, it's chicken scratch. The closest thing I could possibly compare the animation of this to is Shin-chan, which is hell of a lot better than Rick and Morty, the anime. Not to say Shin-chan's art direction is bad. It's interesting to see anime that have a Western-like animation style, such as Doraemon and Ninja Hattori. At least Shin-chan is funny, has relatable characters at any age, has some political commentary, and most importantly, is original. It has a reason to exist. I know this is an overused saying, but good writing can save bad animation, but good animation can't save bad writing. But in Rick and Morty, the anime, it's the worst of both worlds, and can't get either of them right. If anything, this anime is just going to ruin the franchise's image even worse than it already is. People already clown on Rick and Morty for its man-child fanbase, and the series declining in later seasons for being too meta in a corny way. Not to mention the creators' questionable behavior. It almost feels like as if the crew over at Williams Street Productions made this show intentionally bad, and not in an artistic way or in a so bad it's good kind of way, like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was. This show is genuinely garbage. It's not transformative in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't know if it wants to be a parody or take itself seriously. This could have worked as like an April Fool's Day stunt, or a continuation of the shorts that the anime originally derived from, but it does not work in a 22-minute format, and it's just a hot mess. The episode was only 20 minutes long, but it felt like 40 minutes. Adult Swim has had some doozies in the past year or so, but damn! As much as I dislike Royal Crackers and Psychops, at least they're new, original, and have something going for them. There's some people out there that like them, even though I don't. This show is so unfathomably bad that not even the obese 40-year-old virgin weeaboo leeching off of Social Security, living in his ma's basement, wearing a fedora and an unwashed trench coat wants to touch it with a 60-foot pole. I would compare this to bad fanfiction, but that would be an insult to fanfiction. What made Rick and Morty such a great cartoon in its early seasons is how they parodied sci-fi movies in interesting ways, and its cynical but quirky sense of humor. It was composed of pop culture references and also a bit meta, but not too on the nose like it is nowadays. The character dynamic between cynical but funny Rick, Morty the nervous wreck going through teenage problems, abrasive but smart Summer, and the rest of the family and extended cast worked so well in the original show, but in the anime, there's very little characterization. Warner Bros. Discovery must be this desperate if they're gonna milk Rick and Morty for a meaningless anime adaptation, even though it's a slowly fading franchise. You're telling me they wrote off Final Space and Close Enough for this? Either that, or the creators wanted to do an experiment, but it went poorly. On the other hand, Rick and Morty could be on its way out in the future, as Smiling Friends is likely to be Adult Swim's next big thing. Smiling Friends Season 2, especially toward the end, was out of this world. But that's a video for another day. To be fair, this is the only episode of the anime to have aired so far, and for all I know, the quality could pick up from here. Many series have a rough start. The crew behind the show might get it together and tell better jokes, a cohesive plot with an unexpected twist, and characters that have depth. But for now, this could easily be one of the worst cartoons from the 2020s decade. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, notify, and check out other videos on the channel. You may like them. What are your thoughts on Rick and Morty, the anime? Let me know in the comments.